Hey YouTube, this is City Prepping. In this video, we're going to take a look at building an earthquake kit. An earthquake kit is simply a collection of tools and items that you would want to have on hand immediately after a major earthquake. If at any time you want to check out any of the items that I'll describe in this video, I'll put links in the description section below. And you can also check out everything I discuss on my website at cityprepping.com/earthquake. So let's jump in. Okay, before we open up this bucket, just two things to point out. Always keep by these emergency earthquake buckets is a fire extinguisher and a gallon of water. You might want to put more water depending on your family size, but just having the ability to know where a fire extinguisher is after an earthquake, in my opinion, is very, very important, smart idea. And again, water, because if there is a major earthquake, clean water may not be readily available. So let's go ahead and peel the top off. Now this bucket here, I'll just slide this over really quick to show you kind of a top-down view. I'm gonna go through and pull these off one at a time, and we'll look at these. And I got the lid, I think, at Lowe's, and the bucket at Home Depot. You can get these for just a few dollars there. I think about $5 or so for this. Okay, now the first item on the top, and this is on the top for a reason, is a tourniquet and an Israeli bandage. Both of these are designed to help situations whenever there's a lot of bleeding. And I want these on the top so I can quickly grab these. I know where they're at. I don't have to look around or dig to the bucket. They're exactly where they need to be, which is at the top. And the other item at the top, and again, this is by design, is a checklist, a quick to-do after an earthquake. You're gonna have the typical things like, shutting off your gas, all these things that, after a disaster, you don't tend to really, when you're in a panic mode, it's kind of hard to think clearly, and you may not have the internet, so having that information readily printed out is a great idea. On the top also, I've got cash. Again, just realize ATM debit cards may not be operational. Make sure you have small denominations. I've got a bunch of 10s. I need to break this down more into 5s and 1s, but if you have to go in the store and the power's out, they'll probably still honor cash. All right, so the next one is N95 respirators. If there's a lot of dust after, things collapse, or there's, different situations where you may be exposed to a lot of dust, having that, in my opinion, would be very helpful. And again, also in the top, by design, is another kind of layer of, controlling bleeding, heavy bleeding. We've got some gauze, and we've also got a quick clot kit. These are, used in the military whenever there's bleeding, slap this on to have the blood kind of congeal really quickly. Moving on to items that are on the top, and again, for a reason, is a tool kit with a wrench, some pliers, and duct tape. If you gotta, one of the first things typically you gotta do after an earthquake is shut off the gas, so having that wrench so I can quickly go out and shut that off. And whatever other tools I may wanna have, I know they're there. And again, kind of on the top, and the items that we'll get into in a second, they don't necessarily need to be top items per se, but having a pair of gloves on the top is important for a lot of reasons. Again, if there's debris that you've got to deal with. And I would say one other item that's on the top by design, make sure you don't bury this at the bottom somewhere, but is any kind of a flashlight. We've got a flashlight. This is a radio. It's got a crank, and I've got different types of power cords that I can use to power my cell phones. So again, in a situation where I need to get information quickly, I need a flashlight. I like these devices. They serve a lot of different purposes. And again, that's on the top. So the rest of these items that we'll go through, wherever you put them is up to you, but those were intentionally on the top. All right, so moving along, we've got different types of food items. Now I know these are not your typical, long-term healthy, gonna be making meals out of these. These are simply, foods that you'll wanna have, that again, if you're probably not gonna be cooking right after a major earthquake, you might have to actually leave. But I just want to have these items where I know they're at. And, if we just need some snack foods until we figure out a plan on what we're gonna do to eat. I do a lot of other videos about food storage, but these are just kind of the quick and easy items I can get. Again, some of these you may say, hey, I want different items, that's fine, change it as you want. Some of these they need rotation, but I like them because they don't take any preparation. They're quick and easy, so if you do go with these, just make sure you set a calendar notification to rotate these out, probably on every 6 months or so. Continuing on is kind of a basic sanitation / first aid kit. I've got some soap. With first aid, I've got a bandage, I've got Band-Aids, I've got burn cream, Neosporin, some gloves, some gauze. This is kind of an extension of some of the items that we've already brought out. But Again, just you can build this yourself. You know, go to the dollar store, get these items wherever, but just have some kind of an emergency kit to take care of minor lacerations and other things that will come up. Now the next one, oh, sorry, this popped out, is a mini Sawyer. This is a water filter. And you may say, wow, you know, I'm not going to be out camping in the woods. Well, again, realize after the grid goes down, if there's leaks in the pipe, you know, the water lines, water is probably going to be contaminated. And if you need the ability to quickly filter out water, this can filter up to 100,000 gallons, believe it or not. For $20, that's a good peace of mind to me. And again, if I'm in a situation where I have to leave quickly and, you know, I come across water that may or may not be, you know, good for drinking, I at least have that option. The next one is a simple, you know, just Bic lighter. Obviously, don't use these inside after an earthquake if you got gas leaks, but the ability to, you know, start a fire if I'm outside to cook or whatever else I need to do, I've got that option. The next one is a basic survival guide. SAS survival guide, these are really popular. It's small, a lot of useful information. Again, think about it. You know, again, think about it from the perspective, the internet probably is going to be down, electricity, etc. Having information on decisions I need to make that could be critical for life, you know, life-saving issues. I just want that readily available. Also, I've got a whistle and I've got a USB thumb drive with important documents. Just make sure you secure this, this USB thumb drive, have some kind of a password if you're storing valuable documents on that. All right, next one is a simple notepad with a pen and a, what is this called? A crayon, I think a construction crayon. Is that the lumber crayon? That's the term for it, thank you. One of the things I learned in CERT is, writing different information on the outside of your house, other people's houses. If, you know, the crews are going through and checking to see what the status on people, you know, whether people had to leave. But being able to write notes if I've got to leave, and having the duct tape, which I showed a second ago, if I want to leave a trail of notes behind so people, if they're looking for me, they know where I went. Got some hand sanitizer. Obviously, if running water is an issue and I just want to be able to sanitize my hands, got that. Fixed blade knife. In the emergency preparedness survivalism community, you know, fixed blade knives serve a lot of purposes. The next one is a deck of cards. You have to think, especially if you have kids, you're probably gonna be sitting around a lot, people are gonna be bored. Just something to keep minds occupied. Now this one, flashlight, I usually when it comes to flashlights, I like redundancy. I showed you the first flashlight on the radio, but having this with some batteries that are not inside, so if they, you know, begin to leak or deteriorate, they don't destroy the flashlight. But definitely will be important to have some type of lighting. This next item is a map. If you've got to leave, and again, for whatever reason, you don't have GPS or your phone, you know, there could be a lot of different issues. A small piece of paper in my mind, just having that could be very important. The next one are some glow sticks. Along with the obvious applications, lighting, these can serve a lot of purposes. You know, you can put these on the end of a paracord, which we'll talk about in a second, and swing them. It creates a great signaling device. If you've got to put these on your backpack and you're out walking at night, whatever. I mean, these have so many uses in an emergency situation. The next one is some Mylar blankets. Now, if we have to leave our house and we're forced out, probably having to sleep in our cars in a parking lot somewhere or whatever the situation, now you know, having the ability to at least at a minimum provide some warmth. I realize these are not going to replace blankets. These are just your bare bone survival type of items, but for the price tag, it's hard to beat these, and it's, you know, small and portable. The next one is some pet food. Just make sure you think about your pets. We've got a small dog and cat. Honestly, they kind of share the same food. They're both about the same weight, so we have that to get us by for a little while. As I mentioned a second ago, paracord. Paracord serves so many different purposes. You know, you can create, you know, lashings, you can tie things together, secure things, create clothesline if you're having to dry out. I mean, the list could go on and on for different uses. So it's just a small item that, in my opinion, has a lot of applications. The next one is some basic hand wipes. You know, I think actually these are flushable wipes. This is kind of more of my sanitation kit here. A large heavy-duty garbage bag, some sanitary napkins, or feminine hygiene, excuse me, products. So make sure you're thinking about that, toilet paper as well. And the next one is some napkins. Again, just if you're eating, being able to wipe your hands. Now, I think we're getting more into down here. Before I do, let me hop over to a few others. This is a large bandana. Again, these serve so many purposes, whether you're having to create a splint, whether you want to have to, you know, provide shade on your head. pre-filter water. A lot of uses and applications for that. I'm gonna go into this next one. Whenever I took CERT training through the city, they provide all of this with crowbars. I don't think this is the one they gave me. But again, in an earthquake where there's gonna be structures, obviously, that are damaged, having this to be able to get in places if you need to help rescue people or get yourself out for that matter. Now, I think the last one is just different types of food items. Now, this builds on top of what I talked about a second ago, small snacks. These are, basic survival bars, kind of taste like graham crackers. And you've got some MREs. Again, if we're in a situation where we're gonna be on our own, power's down for a day or two, and I do have more extensive long-term food storage items, but again, these are just quick. They don't require any preparation. They have everything internally to heat up your food, and you've got a meal right away. So the last item is some additional water packets. And again, these are the small, you can pick these up on Amazon, just small drinking water. And again, I do have a lot of water storage. As you can see behind me, I've got 55-gallon barrels, but if we have to leave, at least I have a peace of mind knowing it's in the bucket. So there you go. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. You may have different things that you want to put in, but if you have any questions on any of this, please let me know. Hopefully this video gives you enough information to help you start building your own kit. Now, if you choose to go with different items or in a different type of container, that's fine. This is just simply a starting point, and I hope that this will at least get you thinking about the items that you would want to have after a major disaster. It does even have to be an earthquake. A lot of these items can be applied across, different types of uses, hurricanes, situations where you may have to leave your house in an emergency. There's a lot of actual uses and applications for what we're describing here. So if you have any questions or any thoughts or feedback, please post that in the comments section below. As always, stay safe out there.